have needs for goods and services they are willing to pay. The willingness and ability of consumers to fulfill their needs constitute the demand for the goods and services. The buyers and sellers constitute the demands and supply sectors. More higher the price, the less consumers are willing to buy the product. And more lower the price, the less attractive the deal is from suppliers' point of view. The interaction between buyers and sellers in the market determines the price and quantity at which the products are sold. In other words, neither the supply nor the demand alone dictates of the products or quantity exchange. The interaction will eventually lead to a market equilibrium, meaning that a balance is found between the supply and the demand for the product. The product provided by the supply sector consists physical goods and immaterial services. Physical goods are transported from the site of the production and made available to the consumers through distribution channels. Services, in contrast, are intangibles and are simultaneously produced and consumed in the market. Demand for travel and tourism has grown at a faster rate than the demand for most areas of economic activity. In tourism, the concept of demand can be expanded to include the need to eat and place. Tourists buy souvenirs and clothes as well as using services such as accommodation and entertainment park. Regarding tourist buyers, they easily react to an increase in their personal expendable income and their distribution, time budgets, and other personal motives. May also be more changes in the demand of generating areas such as economic depression and political uncertainty. Change between sellers in the state refers to the variations in the price level compared to a competitor's objectives, business environment, transportation connection, and product manifold between another factor. Contact between buyers and sellers, like demand and supply sectors sensitive to tourism promotions, achievement, and marketing. Tourism demand defined. Tourism demand is the number of people who participating in tourism activities or the number of people who travel or wish to travel to use tourist facilities and services in places far from where they usually live. Tourists have a demand for existing goods, services, and premises marketed as individual products or product packages. The tour package is purchase a range of products including transportations, activities, and other services. Tourism demand is usually considered as a measure of visitors' use of goods or services. The concept of tourism demand originates from the classic definitions of demand in economics, namely the desire to own a commodity or utilize a service, combined with the ability to buy it. According to Sinclair and Stabler, level of significance and impact of tourism demand provides compelling reasons for a better understanding of the nature tourist decision-making process. Tourism demand is a form of spatial demand where our tourism product is a complementary bundle of goods and services. Consumers are not goods and services transported, and tourism consumption coincides with tourism production.
Measurement of tourism demand. Tourism demand can be measured in a variety of ways. Kim 1988 Part 25 categorizes the measurement criteria for all types of travel and tourism demand into 4 groups. 1. Allure criterion, such as the number of tourist arrivals, the number of tourist visits, and the visit rate. 2. Pecuniary criterion, for example, the level of tourist expenditure received and share of expenditure received in income. 3. A time consumption criterion, such as tourist days, tourist night. And 4. A distance travel criterion, for instance, the distance traveled in miles or kilometers. Among the above four categories: the door criterion and pecuniary criterion dominate international tourism demand studies. Considering statistical affability and consistency between data sources, tourist arrival or TA and tourist expenditure or TE receipt are the most commonly used tourism demand measure in empirical studies, along with their derivative, such as the tourist participation rate derived from tourist arrival divided by population of the origin country or region, and tourist expenditure per capita derived from total tourist expenditure divided by population. Other variations of tourism demand measure can also be identified in empirical studies. Based on published studies over the periods from 1961 to the early 90s, Crouch 1994 and Lim 1997 summarized tourism demand measured into 5 and 6 broad categories, respectively. In Crouch 1994 review, 19 out of 80 published studies use more than one tourism demand measure. This phenomenon was also observed by Lim 1997. Lee et al. 2005 reviewed the literature on tourism demand modeling and forecasting using econometric approaches published over the period 90s to 2004 and found that 20 measures of tourism demand were used in those studies. In addition, 18 out of 84 studies included in the review used more than one demand measure. Based on Crouch categorization, Table 1 summarizes the application of various tourism demand measures in the studies reviewed by Crouch 1994, Lim 1997, and Lee et al. 2005, respectively. It can be seen that the tourism demand measure TA and TAP and TE have dominated tourism demand modeling and forecasting studies over the past 4 decades. The following discussion will therefore focus on these two sets of measurement of tourism demand.
Factors that influence tourism demand. Demographic and social change affect the patterns of tourism demand. One example of this is the aging demographic profile in Europe, which is having an effect on the development of tourism products, specifically aimed at third age sections of the population. Consumer knowledge of available tourism products also influence tourism demand. This is particularly important in developed countries, where individuals will generally be eager to learn about the opportunities for travel, particularly where political or economic factors have affected their decision in the past. The growth of television programs and specialist magazines on tourism has been a reflection of the growing interest in tourism. These programs have also fueled tourism demand, as has the growth and development of tourism companies, offering more choice to consumers. Song et al. At 2010 agreed that tourism demand could be affected by a wide range of factors, such as economic, attitudinal, and political factors. But the majority of the economic studies tend to examine the demand for tourism by focusing predominantly on economic factors.
Income and prices play important roles in determining tourism demand. Finally, Middleton in 2009 also supports other findings in which the factors of demand for travel and tourism are common to all countries. The main determinants of demand for travel and tourism are summarized under 10 word headings below. And the one is economic factor and comparative price. The second is the demographic characteristic of tourism generating nation. And the next is the third, geographic factors. And the fourth is socio-cultural attitudes to tourism. The fifth, access to personal transport. Sixth, government or regulatory infrastructure surrounding travel and tourism. Seventh, media communications. Eighth, information and communications technology or ICT. And the ninth, environmental concerns and demand for more sustainable forms of tourism. And the last is the 10th, is international political developments and terrorist actions. Next, I will tell about the case about factors that affect tourism demand. With travel costs not having a significant effect against the demand of domestic tourists on the marine island tourism object in Tiongkok, pesisir selatan Regency. There is many factors are driving people to travel tours, like the economic theory of tourism, which was stated by Mark in 2004. Among others, to take a break for recreation, to discover new things and a different culture, to enjoy nature. Between the alternative hypothesis and the theory occurs because traveling is a request that is spiritual or inner satisfaction, so that when people feel tired over activities and business of each person will need to do a holiday or go vacation or go on a trip, so tourists are not all questioning the problem of travel costs.